What's up, guys? Today I have another X and Y wife battle against a guy named Hans that I actually challenged in random Wi-Fi battles, and we actually had a pretty damn good match actually here. And before we talk about his team, I'm actually trying a different new team actually, as you can tell. I think some of them were from the help of my friend Dark Prince of Persia 1, who sent me some of these Pokemon in eggs. So I had to rebreed them myself, and I managed to get them. So let's look at my team. I actually have a Reuniclus, which, although it's an OU tier Pokemon, it's surprisingly a pretty damn good Pokemon. Simply because, one, it learns Trigger, and two, thanks to Magic Guard, it completely ignores the recoil damage caused by Life Orb, and Life Orb will still give an attack boost regardless. And that's a perfect combination, as this thing cannot take damage from any status moves and can only be damaged with the physical attacking moves. It will still get paralyzed though. But outside of that, it really does not take in from any move outside of physical attacks or attacking moves anyway. Sorry, I got a hiccup. Next, I have my Mega Moa, which, unlike most people who won the physical attacking set, I won the defensive set with Stockpile, but I'll show you what it is in a bit later. I won a defensive set, and surprisingly, it's actually a pretty good set. Actually, my friend, Dark Prince of Persia 1, actually used it a Stockpile set before, and I actually remember he did it to me before. And this was around the time when I was a complete noob at this game. Yeah, but I'm starting to like the Stockpile set a lot more than the physical set. I may try the physical set sometime, but honestly though, I kind of prefer defensive set. It's a bit hard to set up because of its weakness to fire and ground types. But I think once you get them out of the way or make right predictions, she'll be really, really good. Next up is my Machamp with No Guard, which, honestly, I really love Machamp, actually. It's a really damn good Pokemon with No Guard. With the combination of Dynamic Punch, Stone Edge, and other moves that have terrible accuracy, thanks to No Guard, they will always land no matter what. They will always land no matter what. Which is actually freaking fantastic, and I love Machamp. This is actually an Assault Vest set, by the way. I don't want the leftover substitute set. It's actually a Assault Vest set, where its attacks are pretty much Dynamic Punch, Stone Edge, Knockoff. Knockoff is such a good move for this guy, especially for Pokemon. I love Knockoff. It's such a good, useful item. And also Bullet Punch for Prior. Which is Bullet Punch very useful against this weakness to Fairy type. And since Steel type is super effective against Fairy types, it's probably even more necessary to have Bullet Punch in this guy nowadays than there was before. That's just me. Next up, I have my physically defensive Weezing, which honestly, I love Weezing right now. It's a really good wall, and it's a great counter to fighting types, as it can easily resist all those moves and take their hits for days. I mean, it is such a freaking good Pokemon, a really good physical wall. A bit weak on the specially defensive side, but I love this Pokemon because of the ability to levitate. So he's no longer weak. So he's now no longer weak to ground types. Well, outside the Pokemon that have Volt Breaker that can completely ignore his ability, but you get what I mean. And the only weakness he pretty much has is pretty much Psychic type moves. The only thing about him that sucks is that he doesn't have the best special defense. But he does, unless it's does do normal damage, he can take at least one special attacking move. Of alright, but so forth. But anyway, I love Weezing. It's a really damn good physical wall. I think it actually got a buff this generation because of the addition of Fairy types and the fact that Poison type is super effective on Fairy. So it actually got a big buff this generation, whereas from what I looked up in last generation, it was a very low tier Pokemon that no one used it outside of using it for physical walls against fighting types. But I love Weezing. I definitely think he's really good in this generation. But next up, I have my Choice Banded Grand Ball. And honestly, I may take out one of its moves because I already have a move that covers the same types that one of his moves is, and that's pretty much Earthquake. I may actually take out Earthquake and replace it with a different move. I have Close Combat, Crunch, Play Off, and Earthquake on this thing. And like I said, I'll probably take out Earthquake for a different move. I just don't know what it's going to be at this point, but who knows. Next up, we have my Aurorus, which I know many people might be wondering, why the heck do I have an Aurorus on here? Is this my in-game Aurorus? No, it's not. It's a perfect IV bred Aurorus that I raised myself. I never even picked this Pokemon as my in-game Pokemon, by the way. It was mostly Tyranitar, and I love Tyranitar so damn much. One of my favorite Pokemon of all time, pretty much because of its design. Really good sweeper if you set him up right. And much more. Aurorus, on the other hand, the one thing I will agree with a lot, because I really don't hate the most about Aurorus, is its typing. Being part rock and part ice type is terrible because he has so, because Horse has way too many weaknesses. 4 times weakness to fire and steel type, weakness to water, grass, and other moves. I mean, yeah, true, it does resist a lot of attacks, but at the same time, you've got a ton of weaknesses. And since the most common types we see nowadays in terms of teams is fighting type and steel type, it really, honestly has no chance in the battlefield. But I have been playing with the Wars a bit, and but it's actually not a bad Pokemon. You just need to set it up right to make it very effective. But I think once you set it up right, it can be a pretty nice wall. So let's look at my opponent's team. Sorry that I talked too much, but I want to describe my Trick Room team. His team is a kind of an interesting one because he has an Umbreon, which is... Honestly though, I hate playing against Umbreons, but I think once you have perfect counters to it, it's actually going to be not that big of an issue. But it is a pretty damn annoying Pokemon regardless though, but anyway. He's also got the Coferigus, which for some weird reason, I don't see that many people use Coferigus, even though only the popular Poke YouTubers use this guy. And honestly, I may actually try out Coferigus myself, actually. It seems like a really nice poke to have, really good wall. He's also got the Rosary, which is, I don't see that many people use this poke, but I know like it's a pretty nice Pokemon with Giga Drain and stuff. And it's an okay wall. Not really that, bit fragile, but an okay wall if you bring it at the right time. He's also got the Rhyperior, which honestly, yet again, is another Pokemon I'm going to actually try out. And honestly, though, out of the threats, Rhyperior is a big threat to my team, simply because that, one, some parts of my members on my team are really damn weak to freaking ground type moves. So honestly, I needed my Reason Alive at all costs for that thing, because it really completely walls that thing. He's got the Nidoking, which is another big threat to my team, because some of my Pokemon have terrible special defenses, and that thing can easily kill it. He's also got the Porygon too, which I know that thing is very defensive, especially with Evenlight. It's incredibly bulky. But regardless. So, regardless. So, let's go. So I actually started the lead with my Relentless as he starts up the lead with his Porygon too. And I went for and he had the download. I was like, oh fuck, this needs to hit me hard. So I went for Trick Room, probably predicting to go for Tri-Attack, as that's the most common move everyone runs on a Porygon. But it actually turns out he actually goes for Trick Room as I do, and now I twisted the dimensions back to freaking normal. And I honestly really did not expect that to be fair though. So that immediately tells me that his is also a Trick Room team as well. Also a Trick Room team. Now, I went for Calm Mind simply because I was predicting to go for Trick Room again. But it actually turns out he didn't do that. He goes straight away for Tri-Attack, and that was a freaking critical hit, and I definitely do think that crit mattered. Because that did nearly 80% life, and that was a crit too. So I definitely do think that crit mattered. Honestly, if I lived it through that, maybe I would have survived, but I really had no idea. So, it's in my Wars, and I actually decided to go behind a Substitute because, despite the fact he's at +2 special attack, I can easily take a +2 Tri-Attack because I do resist it because I'm part Rock. So I go for Substitute, and as it turns out, he actually goes straight into the Trick Room. But honestly, I kind of prefer that over Tri-Attack. So, here's people, I want a Substitute set on this Aurorus. So, I'm going to use this opportunity to start setting up some Calm Minds, as since I'm actually behind a Substitute, he really cannot do anything to me at all. So, unfortunately though, honestly this Coferigus can't really do that much to me here, but it actually turns out he has a hidden power, and it said it was super effective, and I had no idea if this was either hidden power water or maybe grass type. If it was hidden power fire or steel type, that would be really insane, actually. And that would make this thing a big threat by far, but... So, I don't know. I still went for Calm Mind, and since I know that most Coferigus want special attacking moves, I need to set up some Calm Minds just to make this thing incredibly bulky. As he goes for the hidden power again. And as you can tell, that time that hidden power does absolutely no damage. I go straight into Freeze Strike instead of going behind the Substitute, as that Freeze Strike does a clean 55% damage. That's an insanely good amount of thing. Now here, I actually knew he was going to be forced to switch because he knows that his attacks don't do anything to me at all, and he definitely knows for a fact that the next Freeze Strike is going to kill him, so I actually predict that and go for a Substitute again, just to stay behind a Substitute and start setting more Calm Minds. Calm Minds as... like I said, his converters could not do anything to my horse, and the next person going to kill, so Substitute was definitely going to be the better play. So I go for, instead of going for Common, I go for Freeze Strike just to see how much damage that did. And like I predicted, this thing is incredibly bulky, just like every Umbreon. It does pretty much a clean 25%. Not really going to lie, it does a clean 25%. And so, I go straight away for another Combine as my opponent actually goes straight into another Foul Play just to get rid of this Substitute. He goes for another Foul Play, and that time that one gets a Substitute, so it's a guaranteed two Foul Plays is required to get rid of the Substitute. But that's not really going to matter because my HP goes all the way back to what it was before, actually, to be fair though. But honestly, this Umbreon really cannot do that much to me at all, so it really honestly can't really do anything, so I go straight away for Freeze Dry as since I'm at the point the attack rising. So I go for Freeze Dry again. As that Freeze Dry does a crap ton, it does a decent amount of damage. To his Porygon, I was actually expecting maybe at half damage because I'm at +3, but then again, Porygon 2 always carry Eviolite, so it's incredibly bulky. And this time, however, he goes straight away for the Trick Room instead of going for Tri-Attack. But honestly, I guess he knows for a fact that he can't do anything besides activating Trick Room. Now here, this was a very odd play on his part. I was actually thinking of going for Substitute since he set up the Trick Room. But he actually sends in the Nidoking instead. And actually, this Freeze Dry KOs this Nidoking with one shot. And I honestly, and that was a big threat too, and I had no idea why he actually sacked this thing off, or why he sent it in. Maybe he didn't predict in the Substitute, but then again, Nidoking wouldn't do anything to me because of my +3 special defense. So, he sends in the right period, and unfortunately, I made a really bad mistake here. I thought maybe I could live through this Earthquake and then finish him off with a Freeze Dry, and I know right period has Solid Rock, which decreases super effective moves by 25%. But I was actually hoping I would live through that Earthquake. Actually, then I could finish him off with a Freeze Dry. Actually, it turns out that that's not really the freaking case here. He kills me with the Earthquake when I should have actually done was switched into my, And what I should have really done was pretty much switch into my Weezing predicting the Earthquake, which is what I should have done to begin with, but really couldn't do that much. But at least the Wars did a really good job though throughout the game though. It really crippled some walls really hard. It definitely was very helpful in this match. So honestly, I would definitely say that Wars is one of the MVPs of the game because it was really darn good. So I send in my Machamp because I know he's the only attack he can pretty much go for the most is either Shadow Ball or maybe Hidden Power. Which honestly though, like I said, I'm a Soul Vest and I take that Shadow Ball like a monster. And I'm not even fully invested in the special defense, but Soul Vest really makes it bulky. On the special defensive side anyway, so I go for knockoff and I lose my no guard ability. Turns out he has Rock Helmet. And honestly, I'm not really going to stay in on this Rose Race because I know like a Sleep Powder is coming and I want to keep, and I do want to keep my Machamp alive at all costs, just to do as much damage as I could with it. So I send him my wall. He goes for Sleep Powder and misses. I was like, okay, 25% chance to miss. That's perfectly fine. That's fine. That happens. He goes for Sleep Powder and misses again. He's like, okay, that is pretty crappy for him. And I get a free stockpile. But he goes for Sleep Powder one more time, and this time he does actually manage to land it this time. And so he actually decides to switch out into back into his Rhyperior, which honestly though, even though I'm at +1 defense, I don't think I'm not going to take this stab Earthquake very well. So I decide to switch out into my Weezing, predicting that. But he actually goes for he actually makes a really good play here, and actually goes for the Stone Edge, predicting me to send in Weezing. And let me tell you, that Stone Edge does a clean 55%. It does over 50% of my life. And I honestly, the only thing I could really do is this Will-O-Wisp Sustain. It's the only thing I could really do. I could go straight for Poison, Sludge Ball, or Flamethrower, but easily resists all of my attacks. So the only thing I could really go for, honestly, is pretty much the only thing I could really go for, is pretty much actually just Will-O-Wisp, and that's all I can do. Now, I take that so much nicely. I actually switch out the Grand Ball simply because I was actually mostly expecting to stay in, or maybe possible go switch out. He actually switches out, actually predicting me to switch, and he actually switches into the Umbreon, which is a perfect matchup for me because that means I can either go for either close combat play rough, and since I'm Choice Bandit, it's gonna easily take out this. He goes for the heal bell before he even dies, just to get rid of the burn on the right here, which is definitely not a bad play, but I go for close combat. That's a guaranteed one-hit KO on the Umbreon. I don't know if Umbreon could have lived that at full life, but I'm Choice Bandit, full max attack, anime nature, with close combat. I was thinking of going for player of a stab, but I didn't want to risk it missing for some reason, so out comes the Roserade, and honestly, I don't want Gramble, again, I don't want Gramble to go sleep, so I go back into Mobile, predicting that, which is exactly what he does. He goes straight into Sleep Powder, like I predicted he did. So he's gonna switch out. I was definitely expecting right here, but he actually goes back into Porygon, actually, which was kind of a bit weird though in my opinion. I thought that was a bit odd, but honestly though, I can definitely see why though, because he wants to set up the Trick Room again. So, but I definitely do fully understand that. So I go for Stockpile since I am faster than this Porygon. And like I predicted, he does want to go for Trick Room, which is okay. So here I was thinking of, well, I could go for Stockpile since I can easily now resist this move. But I actually decided instead, I'll just go for Play Rough because I need to get rid of this Porygon 2 because if this Porygon 2 is alive, it could really do a number to some of my team. So I need to get rid of that Porygon 2 at all costs. So he actually, now he sends it right B. He actually does a double switch predicting Weezy to come in, which is honestly definitely not a bad play on his part. That was definitely not a bad play, but I actually did not go for that. I actually went for Baton Pass, and yes, that's correct, people. I run a Baton Pass set on my Wild Stockpile. It's real, trust me, for a triple team, this is very, very helpful, especially on McChamp. Can take it like a monster. You're a freaking monster, so since he did activate the Trick Room, I actually do outspeed it thanks to him setting up Trick Room. And thanks to my Soul Vest plus one special defense, I take that extra sensor like a boss. And honestly, this was a bad mistake on my part. I should have actually went for a Dynamic Punch, not only because I outspeeded because of Trick Room, but also because of predicting to send it back the right pure, so. But that was a really bad play on my part. But it happens. Sometimes you make bad plays. So, land a Dynamic Punch, and I actually outspeeded after the Trick Room after the Trick Room goes away, so, which is actually interesting, because I was wondering, how slow is this right period, to be honest, though. So, I'm going to send in my Grand Ball. He does kill with the Stone Edge, which sucks. I was hoping if he hits us out with Confusion, I can hit him with one more Dynamic Punch and finish him off, but I didn't want, but he kills me, so I go into Big Bully, and I go straight away for Close Quarters. That's the most effective move I have. And unfortunately, Roserade does not live a close combat from that range. I know this thing does resist, I know Roserade does resist fighting type moves, but I don't think it can live a Choice Band, Anime Nature, close combat from that range. I don't think it can live through that. Now, this was a play I had to make. I made this play simply because I had no idea if Grand Ball outspeeds his right period. I really had no idea. So, I actually decided to switch into my James, sack it off, and then I can send it back Big Ball, not only to bring its defenses back to normal, but also just to get the Intimidate off again, so it can easily take another hit just in case it outspeeds me. I go for close combat, and it turns out I actually outspeed it, and that was kind of unfortunate for him. I guess maybe he was expecting to outspeed me or something, but that's actually the game from Hans. It was a pretty damn good matchup, really, really good game. Honestly, I did look up the speed of Grand Ball and Rhyperior. Turns out Grand Ball outspeeds Rhyperior by just 5 stat points. And I'm not even fully invested in the speed, despite having perfect IV speed, which is pretty damn insane, actually, in my opinion. That's really damn insane, but I had to go in there. So, that's actually the match, and really, really loved in the match. Still trying to get used to this Trick Room team, and I can definitely see why Trick Room teams are pretty damn hard to set up, but it's not really a bad team. I just need to change it a bit more if I want to, so thanks for watching my XY Wi-Fi battle. I'll see you guys later.